Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into the paper Wonderfully Wired to look at an idea that might just change how you see yourself, your community, and even your faith. It's a whole new lens for understanding why some of us feel, well, wonderfully, and sometimes pretty complicatedly wired. So let's start with the feeling that so many women know deep down, that feeling that you're just working twice as hard as everyone else to keep up, right? Whether it's in social settings, at your job, or just in your own life. It's such a common thing, and to really unpack why that is, we have to start with the actual wiring of our brains. Okay, so how do we even begin to talk about that swimming upstream feeling? Well, it really starts with two key ideas. And look, these aren't labels meant to stick people in boxes. Think of them more like descriptions for the different operating systems our brains can run on. First up, we've got neurotypical. You can think of this as the brain's default setting, you know? It's the type of wiring that our society, from our schools to our unwritten social rules, is pretty much built for and around. It's just the most common way a brain is set up. And then, on the other hand, you have neurodivergent. Now, this is a huge umbrella term. All it really means is that a brain functions differently from that societal default. It's not better, it's not worse, it's just different. It's kind of like you're running on an Apple device in a world that was built for Windows. Both are incredibly powerful, but one of them has to work a little bit harder to fit in. And here's what's so important to get. Neurodivergence isn't just one single thing, not at all. It's this whole wide spectrum. It covers conditions you've probably heard of, like ADHD and autism, but it also includes things like dyslexia, OCD, and even some anxiety disorders. It's a really broad category. Okay, this is where the rubber really meets the road in day-to-day life. For a neurodivergent brain, something like the lights or sounds in a room might feel incredibly intense, almost overwhelming. Or executive functions, this stuff like planning your day, might work in a totally different way. And what's so vital here is to see these not as character flaws, but just as different ways of processing the exact same world. So if these differences are so real and affect so many people, why do countless neurodivergent women go pretty much their whole lives without anyone recognizing it or understanding them? Well, this brings us to what you could call an invisibility cloak. And this invisibility, it's no accident. It's basically woven from three big threads. First, there's something called masking. That's the exhausting full-time job of just trying to act like a neurotypical person to fit in. Then you throw in a huge research bias, where for decades, all the diagnostic checklists were based on how boys acted. And finally, you fold in all the cultural pressure on women to just be agreeable and quiet, which teaches them to hide any struggle. And you can just imagine how isolating that is. It can lead to an entire lifetime of feeling like you're lazy or just broken, all because you're trying to navigate a world that wasn't built for your specific wiring, and you don't even have the words for it. Okay, and this is where the conversation gets even bigger than just the individual. This isn't just a psychology topic, It has really deep spiritual and community implications. How we see these differences literally shapes how we build our communities and how we care for each other. And in a faith context, there's actually a beautiful model for this. The whole idea of a body needing all of its different parts to be whole, that's a perfect metaphor here. It's this powerful reminder that every single type of brain, every kind of wiring, has a divine purpose and incredible value. Now this is a radical shift in how we think. It means we stop asking, how can we fix this person? And we start asking, how can we fix the environments we've created? Is our small group, is our church, is our workplace built to support only one type of brain? A question like that just changes everything, doesn't it? It moves us away from judgment and straight into curiosity. It's an invitation to find out what someone actually needs to thrive, instead of just demanding they conform to a standard that was never, ever designed for them in the first place. And this question, this one goes even deeper. It gets that our well-being isn't just about coping or getting by or keeping up. It's about flourishing. This is how we stop making people swim upstream and instead start creating spaces where everyone can feel safe, joyful, and like they truly belong. So after hearing all this, you might be starting to wonder, where do I fit into this picture? And hey, this isn't about running out to get a diagnosis. It's more about starting a journey of self-understanding, but with a brand new lens. So let's just get a little reflective for a second. Think about your social energy. Does it feel like it just flows naturally? Or does it feel more like a performance? Do you get home from a party or a church event not just tired, but completely and utterly wiped out, like you've just run a marathon? And what about your senses? Does the tag on your shirt drive you crazy all day? Does the hum of the lights in a store feel like it's screaming at you? And what about that inner critic? Do you often feel like your emotions are just too much for people, or that you yourself are somehow not enough? I really want to stress this point. The goal here is not to find a label to slap on yourself. Not at all. The goal is to find a lens, a new way of seeing things that can offer a path to way more self compassion, more understanding, and more grace, both for yourself and for the people around you. And that really brings us to the most powerful, most important takeaway from all of this. Whether your brain thrives on intense focus or finds its absolute genius in creative chaos, it was made with purpose. The message is simple. You are not broken. You are brilliantly built. And maybe, just maybe, the first step to building communities that celebrate every kind of brilliant is to start by truly believing that about yourself.